So hi, I'm Tim Gitterman, the CEO and co-founder of InfiSense, and I'm a building systems engineer by trade, and my career has been devoted to solving many of the problems shown here. I firmly believe that these are some of society's most pressing challenges. And specifically, my clients have been these stakeholders, building owners, operators, and utilities. And I have worked for them to make our buildings, our facilities, homes, and our grid more sustainable, more energy efficient, healthy, and resilient. And what I have experienced firsthand is that this group of stakeholders urgently needs solutions to complex real-world challenges. And the way this actually works in practice is that they turn to a wide variety of trusted business-to-business or B2B service providers to address these problems. And this group is wide. It includes everything from software platforms that serve billions of square feet of commercial real estate, all the way to middle market engineering firms that help facility managers and operators save energy and optimize processes. And this is where I've spent my career, working for these B2B service providers. So I know their workflows and their struggles and what makes them successful. And these are InfiSense's customers. They're the heroes the world needs now. But our heroes have a myriad of problems, and the foundational challenge is they just can't get the data they need. They're looking for solutions to help them remotely monitor real-time data with wireless sensors. And as someone who personally lived this pain, I can assure you that when our customers look to the market for solutions, they really find that the present-day options just don't meet their technical requirements, and their workflows and data needs are just being ignored. Really, no one's designing solutions for them. And this leads them to try and do things themselves. And that leaves every single one of these businesses wasting money and wasting time doing the same heavy lifting just to get the data. And I want to be clear, for the vast majority of businesses, that's just impossible. They don't have the time, the skills, or the resources to become experts in technology that's beyond their core competency. And so without InfiSense, there's just this huge gap between sensors and actionable data. And if we zoom in on this heavy lifting problem, it's really dramatic and painful. So if we put ourselves in the shoes of our hero companies, they're waking up every day to do their job, not to become experts in wireless sensors and networking and cloud infrastructure and more. They want to focus on what they do best, and they can't afford to waste money and time. And so that's what InfiSense does. We tackle all these issues head on, and we're turning everyday heroes into superheroes. So together with partners like Senate, we are leveraging LoRaWAN to make this happen, because LoRa is not a buzzword. It's really revolutionary. It's a non-proprietary open ecosystem of long-range wireless sensors that have the superpowers the world needs today. We can send data for miles, punch through walls and floors, communicate reliably deep indoors and outdoors, operate free from local IT networks, and last for years on a single battery. And we at InfiSense make it all work like magic with software that provides clean, consistent, and actionable data. And our customers describe the experience of working with us as stress-free and enjoyable and easy. So they're willing to pay us to avoid those challenges and pain that come with deploying and managing massive data sets from the real world. And as you can see here, we rely on our trusted partner, Senate, to ensure that our customers' data is flowing from sensors to the cloud 24/7 with full visibility into everything that's happening in the field. So let's look at a real-world example. The utility in this example has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on a variety of initiatives to reduce load on their grid. And this is throughout Brooklyn and Queens in New York City. And the goal is to reduce and or eliminate certain upgrades to their grid infrastructure. And a key part of this spending was reducing demand through energy efficient lighting replacements. So every red dot here, that represents the thousands of customers that received free or reduced LED lights in their home or their business. And the utility tasked our customer, Guidehouse, which is a leading energy efficiency firm, to measure and verify the impacts of all these lighting retrofits. They needed to monitor exactly how and exactly when the customers use these new lights, so the utility can understand what's called in the industry the load shape, which is the hour-by-hour trends of lighting usage by space type and by business type. Now, it would be infeasible to do this at every one of those thousands of sites. So Guidehouse selected a sample of about 200 of these homes and these businesses to perform the monitoring. Now, doing this is not easy. I have spent my career doing this exact kind of work, so I really know the pain. And the typical way to do this is using data loggers, which are not connected and require engineers to physically install them on site, set them to record data, and then come back in 6 months to physically download that data and change the batteries. But those old ways just don't cut it anymore. They need to have real-time assurances that the data is flowing. And to do this, they can't rely on each home's and each business's local IT network. Nobody wants that. It's really somewhere between impossible and a nightmare. And to top it off, they launched this whole project during COVID. So many of the customers did not want anyone entering their business or their home. So let's get into the details of what they actually did in the field. Our customer deployed Tectelic smart room sensors. These are LoRaWAN sensors that are shown here that monitor lighting on and off. And they also monitor temperature, humidity, movement, magnetometer, a number of other variables that weren't of primary interest for this study. And what they did was deploy about 1,000 of these smart room sensors. So that averaged about 3 to 10 per site, depending on how many lights were needing to be monitored at each site. And they did deploy a Tectelic Kona micro gateway at each home. So they only need, or each home or business, they needed one per site. And interestingly, they also use something a partner of ours developed called a light pipe, which helps direct the lighting on-off signal closer to the light source. So if you can't get a sensor near the light bulb or the light fixture, this kind of helps channel that into it. Very cool adaptation to the smart room sensor. And then on the data side, which is really our core business, we help Guidehouse pull the data from our API, run all their analyses and algorithms, and then generate these load shapes by space type and by site type. And so what were the results? First, they eliminated 40% of the physical visits. They were able to recruit these utility customers and ask them if they would be willing to self-install. And InfiSense has made it all so easy, so transparent, that they were able to send these kits, gateways, and sensors for self-installation. And because no one needed to hook up to local Wi-Fi or anything, all they needed to do was plug a gateway into the wall, put sensors near the lights with sticky 3M tape, and the data went from sensors to gateway to cloud via cell. And it was very easy to do this. They didn't have to prior visit the sites, scope out the locations. They did not need any of the local IT, as I just said. And this gave them peace of mind. So Guidehouse now, instead of having to wait 6 months to hope the data was there, they had 24/7 visibility, plus all the tools that Senate and InfiSense provide to troubleshoot and remediate if anything was not working right. And finally, they have collected over 15 months of data at this point, collecting it every 5 minutes. Now, I want to have some fun to wrap this up and show you because this project has been very successful, but I think sometimes the fun part or the interesting part that highlights how successful it is some of the troubleshooting examples. So this one example shows a picture of an actual customer install. So they put this sensor in near the light in this fixture in a bathroom, and it's over a sink. And it was collecting lighting data on, off. That's essentially what the data looks like. And then all of a sudden something happened on this one day. And so the customers monitoring the data, they said it in real time, they're like, hey, we're looking at the last week of data. It doesn't look good. What happened here? And the great thing about the Internet of Things or LoRa sensors is you get these multiple data points. So we could look at relative humidity. And even in this case, there's a magnetic switch on the sensor and something spiked. This is almost 100% humidity spike, and something tripped the magnetic switch. And what we said was all remotely in a few minutes said, it looks like this thing fell into water. They confirmed with the customer, and that's exactly what happened. This was located over a sink. It somehow fell out of the fixture and fell into a sink. Now that's unprecedented to have that kind of remote visibility into what's happening in an individual bathroom with an individual sensor with nobody even needing to contact the customer to see that, to find that out. We can just see it in the data. And then here's another fun, here's another fun one. They were collecting data just in a, in a lighting fixture, and the lighting, was going on and off. This is just whenever they use this light in this fan fixture, it would trigger the on signal and they would collect how much time that ran for. But at some point after this point in October last year, the data just stopped working as well. They were getting intermittent data, that the sensor just wasn't communicating as reliably. And so looking back, you could see the temperatures, and these are in Celsius, well over 100 degrees, even with spikes to 110 degrees. And remember, the customers are self-installing these. And so this is kind of the Murphy's Law. If it can happen, it will. They ask the customer, hey, can you please send a photo of where this light sensor is? And this is the photo they got back. This thing had been stuck in the fixture, literally on the light bulb. So the heat is just baking this circuit board. Now, the great thing was it wasn't unsalvageable. They just simply asked the customer to take it and put it on the wall nearby and try their best to get, the data on when that lighting sensor or when that light fixture was on and off. And things went along as normal. But again, another great example of the power of LoRa to really see deep into the data and troubleshoot and understand things remotely. So that's our case study, that's our project, and these are some of the results that you could read through here or download on the slides. And I'll just turn it over to the next speaker.